I think Dave can put this away. Ireland are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. He steps up into the back of the net. Oh yeah! Rome, here we come.
And it's Ireland's day. Yeah! 61 years of waiting. How sweet this moment is.
Easy, onto it comes Hope. And Hope with a shot, and it's
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM. I'm Gary Stewart.
And I'm Chris Melia.
And this NSC Live, your weekly sports show from the National Sports Campus at Blanchardstown.
So coming up on this week's show, our focus on sport is on third level education and sport, and we'll have a Big Ten montage as well with 3 female athletes from the Morton Games.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Chris. So your highlight of the week, what's it been this week?
Oh, this week, sporting highlight of the week, probably some of the watching some of the Commonwealth Games, really, to be honest. You know, I probably had a bigger lowly in terms of Dublin hurlers on Sunday,
Right, okay.
which wasn't great, but sure.
Why, what happened there?
They were beat, to say the least.
I'm sure everyone at home kind of knows that, but
Yeah.
wasn't really paying much
We're
attention.
throwing it all into the footballers now at this
Right,
stage,
okay,
so
well, yeah,
all bets on there.
We're all getting behind the dubs. Super.
Yourself, Gar?
Not many highlights this week, to be honest with you, Chris. More low lights, really. This thumb saga continues.
Really?
Yeah, 6.5 hours in the hospital today wasn't great fun. Turns out the thumb, I know it looked horrible last week, it's actually been dislocated for a week as well.
Oh, well then.
So
That would explain.
around about 2 hours ago, I passed out in the hospital when it got put back into place, so a little bit embarrassed about that, to be honest.
And you're in here now, no problem.
I'm in here now, I'm a trooper, I'm trooping on, you know, the show must go on and all that sort
The
of stuff.
show must
so
go on.
Committed to the cause. My highlight of the week, obviously, as you know from last week's show, we've got our summer camps on. We had a little presentation on Friday afternoon.
How'd that
we
go?
give out the certificates, it was great.
Good.
And there's one little girl in the Crocodiles team, the younger ones. We've given out the awards. We have one called Mini Olympics Champion, and we do it kind of like it's such and such, it's such and such. And I looked over, and this little girl, Sophia, she was there, she was praying, kind of it was going to be her. Then I looked down on the sheet, opened the magic golden envelope, and there it was, Sophia won, and she jumped up in the air, and she was delighted. So I think that was my sporting highlight of the week.
Well, there you go. I always had the Crocodiles last week, so by the way, and you tried to throw me with the Lions.
To try to throw with the Lions, didn't I?
So
Yeah.
you threw me to the Lions, all right. Sure.
So this week's focus on sport is a focus on sports education. And we are delighted to be joined in the studio with Carla Reynolds, who is the group leader of the Crocodiles, and Adam O'Connell, who is actually the group leader of the Lions as well.
That's pure coincidence.
Yeah, pure coincidence. And these guys have both just graduated from DCU. So how's it going, guys?
Not too bad at all, yeah. Feeling good, yeah.
Feeling good. And Carla, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, yeah. Happy to be here.
So you two guys have been coaching on our summer camps so far this summer. How's it been going?
Oh, I suppose, Gary, to be honest, a bit challenging, you know, few kids, but no, it's been terrific overall. I think the kids are really enjoying it, the chance to partake in so many different sports. They seem to be really taking a hold, and we got multiple sign-ups, re-sign-ups, which is always a good sign, so it's been going very well.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's been going very well. Really enjoying it. I love working with the little ones. Bit of a child myself, like so. I know it's good to see them enjoying themselves, and obviously get the chance to try sports that they obviously never have tried before. Like so, it's obviously good to see them having fun and stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got you guys in the studio because our focus is on sports education. Now, the last few weeks we've had a focus on athletics, we've had a focus on swimming, and we've had a focus on cricket. We just thought we'd mix it up a little bit. So can you kind of tell us a little about your kind of background in sport?
Yeah, basically I play golf. I play a good bit of golf. I represented Leinster and I represent Ireland underage and senior. That's been the main sport that I would have played. I played a little bit of hockey as well, but not so much in the last kind of year or two, being in college and stuff. Basically, I suppose from DCU perspective, I represented DCU being on sports scholarship, and I'm about to go to Maynooth now this year as well to change over. So, all on golf scholarships. So that's kind of my main background.
Excellent.
So,
Jeez, a hard
You've got
act.
to top of that, Adam.
Yeah, hard act to follow there. I suppose my main background would have been in two sports, I suppose tennis and football. Tennis up until about 16, where football took over Gaelic, that is the real sport. But yeah, I would have played Gaelic for Kildare and Nace, you know, up through ages up to under 17, under 18, where unfortunately a few surgeries on my knees kind of cut that part of my life short, and could no longer run, so had to scrap that. Kind of picked up my passion then for fitness and along those lines. So since then, since about 2 years ago, I've been Olympic weightlifting. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with that sport, but yeah, lift heavy things over your head. That's what we do. But yeah, so I competed there with DCU now for the intervarsities, and yeah, terrific sport. I think more people should take interest.
Right, excellent. A bit different.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a big part of sport now as well, the weightlifting. All the lifts are incorporated into different sports now, and the strength and conditioning end of things, would you say?
100%, yeah. I'd say most teams are finding them almost integral now, because I suppose with the likes of football, the power is really coming integral to nearly all sports, especially the kind of field-based sports. So kind of veering away from that big, strong, kind of hulking presence. They want power, quickness, and they're exceptional lifts for increasing speed, which I'm sure most athletics people will know, especially sprinters, just for increasing speed and their overall power output. So
absolutely,
definitely play a huge crossover part in a lot of sports.
So Adam, you have the chance now. Do you want to tell us what you're snatching or what you're clean and jerking?
Oh God, I don't know. It's not magic numbers now. I've kind of been injured for a while, but I only went back recently there, and I hit 105 clean and jerk, which is average enough, I suppose, and a 72 and a half snatch. So they're not great numbers, but they're getting up every day. So
how close is that to you, Chris, in terms of how far off is he from reaching your
from
scores?
Reaching my scores? Probably ballpark around lifting double of what I've ever lifted. I did see a guy lift 100 before, so that's
Okay, fair enough. Excellent. So obviously we've got you guys into the studio to talk about your sports education, really, and the influence that's had on you. So can you tell us a little bit about the course and what the modules include and things like that?
Yeah, well, basically it's a very general course. When I was going into it, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to work in sport, but I wasn't quite sure in what area. So it's a good kind of degree for a baseline and everything. You do things from biomechanics, physiology, nutrition, psychology, health and fitness, everything. So it kind of covers the baseline of everything, and then it gives you the opportunity to sort of get a bit of a taste of everything, and then decide what you might want to go on and do following that. So yeah, it is a very good course, really enjoyable. DCU are fantastic as well, like the lecturers they have there and the people they have in there. It's a really good setup and everything, and you get the high performance lab and everything downstairs in the to do all the testing and all that kind of stuff, and assessing as well.
So the course title is
Sports Science and Health.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you mentioned there the lecturers, and all some pretty high profile lecturers.
Yeah, there's Giles Warrington. He's really involved with the Olympics, Youth Olympics especially.
Yeah.
Who else? There's Donal O'Gorman. Catherine Woods will be really involved in the health promotion side of things, with kind of trying to promote more in government, getting the government involved in promoting health.
Yeah, sure.
And all that kind of stuff.
And Dave Passmore as well. He was head of hockey, wasn't he, for a few years?
Yeah, we've had Dave Passmore, who is our coach and lecturer up there. Fantastic man, especially for the practical side of things. He coaching the Irish under-19 ladies, and heavily involved with a lot of the Irish senior teams as well. Absolutely fantastic lecturer, and great to get some of that feedback, and always try to include us with some of his Irish squads, which is great to get that experience. So they really do try everything to get you in with the kind of big names.
No, I know Dave from he's involved in the Irish Institute of Sport, obviously based at the sports campus, and they set up I think it was called the PDP programme for developing elite coaches. Can't think what
Pursuit
the
of
acronym.
Excellence,
Excellence.
The Pursuit of Excellence.
Pursuit of Excellence programme. And really, really interesting programme, because the kind of thought is if we develop and improve our top coaches, then obviously that can only help and benefit our top athletes as well. So yeah, really kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a big area now as well, as you two well know. I'm going to direct this at both of you, though. Where do you find yourself at the end of this then? Where will you peak? Where will you bring us to? Or where would you like to?
Me personally, I'm going to Maynooth next year. It's a bit of a change. It sounds a bit random now, but I'm going to do a master's in IT management. Basically, I think that bringing the business element and the sport element together is kind of a bit of a niche, I suppose. Might be more potential of getting a job there, because I'm very interested in the sports performance or sports management sort of area, maybe high performance management and working with governing bodies. So having a bit of a business and IT background as well as my sports science might open me up to more opportunities to get jobs, obviously, after my master's.
Yeah, and there's so many areas, isn't there, as well? There's business,
so it's
logistics.
Hard to decide, where you want to go, because there obviously is so many areas to go, and then you kind of have to pick the bits that are a bit more up and coming, or needs a bit more jobs, or have more jobs available, should I say. Yeah,
no, it's great to kind of see you looking into the future as well in that way.
That's where I am.
Yeah, and for myself, I suppose education has always been kind of my goal, if you like. I love the idea of transferring knowledge onto others to try make their life better. So I suppose teaching for me was really what I sought to do afterwards. But as I said, the kind of fitness industry came to me then because of my injury and stuff like that, and that became integral to the part of my life. So I thought if I could incorporate the two of them to educate others as to their well-being and overall fitness. So currently my brother and myself are setting up our own strength and conditioning facility, which is opening in 2 weeks. So yeah, very exciting time for us. So
Excellent.
Great stuff. And now, so looking at it from teaching and transferring on, and working and creating your own facility, and also working on the business end of things, Carla, would you have taken much from the camps that you worked on? Have you found much benefit from them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, hugely. Like in terms of the opportunity to work with kind of such a range of ages, it is really, really important, because it lets you see. It kind of lets you build skills, your interpersonal skills with a range of ages, and especially your communication, because I tell you, when you have 100 6 or 7 year olds, communication becomes very key. So so to work on those skills is hugely important, and your ability to communicate effectively, again, is very important. So it helps with that, but also to get an idea of children's range of abilities at that age as well, because again, always a niche for children to develop. They kind of have poor motor coordination at this level, so kind of a niche area to kind of, if you'd like to develop a business in terms of trying to promote that in kids. So let's just give an almost a baseline of where children are at nowadays. And it's not good, to be honest.
Yeah. And Carla, I assume, like, just watching how the camps are ran and how things would stand to...
Yeah, exactly. I've worked for the last 2 summers, I've worked in America in summer camps, so I have a bit of experience obviously working. It's a little bit different in Ireland. There's obviously different sports, like trying to teach them baseball and I haven't a clue what you're doing there. Seeing how it's run and the whole kind of administration side, and even just delegating work kind of or trying to make sure that everything's run smoothly as well. Like, it's obviously a very good experience for me, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, that's
interesting. You were over in the States then. Was there much contrast, much difference in the camps?
A wee bit, yeah. Like, I don't know, they kind of ran the same way. There's obviously different things that you can take from obviously my experience back there, but that I can use, especially with the younger ones, to try and get them to listen and sit down and organising them a bit. It takes a bit more organisational skills or whatever with the little ones compared to the older ones. I've always worked with sort of 6, 7 year olds, so that'll be where my main experience is. But it's a little bit different, but it's obviously the same sort of thing you're trying to get through to them. So yeah, different accents, but hard working.
So obviously we mentioned kind of like the 6 and 7 year olds there. When you were that age, what do you guys want to be when you were older?
If I'm honest, funnily enough, it's always kind of stayed with me. I always wanted to be a teacher. That's what I always wanted to do, mainly because I probably couldn't shut up, and I suppose if I have other people to listen to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, when I was kind of 6 or 7, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I think by 8 that had kind of worked off for me. And it was a PE teacher, so I went to college with a view of, I want to work in sport. I have to be a PE teacher because I want to work in sport. But that's completely wrong perception. As you guys have mentioned before, there is niches out there. You don't have to just be a PE teacher if you want to work in sport. There's obviously physiotherapy, there's sports journalism, there's even sports photography, there's sports business, there's merchandising, there's sponsorships. There's it's a huge growing industry. Yeah, that's without even touching on kind of strength and conditioning and medicine and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. And the guys will know from college, working through the likes of long-term athlete player development programs and that, like, the scope of it is absolutely ginormous, and a huge business end of it, Carla, as you were mentioning also. Yeah,
and it is a growing area. I mean, it's just about finding something that you think that needs a different an idea thrown at it or something like that, that you can maybe make a bit of a money out of it, or make a life for yourself or a career for yourself. Yeah. Like, it's just a bit of stepping outside the box, I suppose.
I think a lot of people that work in sport, for me, it's a bit of a vocation, but at the same time, I mean, my kind of attitude on working in sport has always been, that's my passion, so why not kind of make a career out of it? Your working life is a huge part of your life, so why not, do something that you enjoy?
Exactly. Really excelling it then, makes the difference all the way.
So going back a little bit, kind of 5 or 6 years for you guys, you were doing your leaving cert. Obviously, you've gone through kind of secondary school education and things like that. What were your kind of thoughts then about sports education in schools? Do you think it was worthwhile? Do you think things need to improve?
Yeah, I do. Me personally, when I was in school, PE wasn't like you didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
I chose to do it the whole way up through my 6 years because I was a pretty sporty person. But like for the junior cert, you could choose between doing home ec and woodwork and PE.
Yeah.
So most people didn't do PE, and I just think that's really bad. I mean, I think PE should be essential within the school, because how else are you going to promote children, like the rising levels of obesity and stuff like that? How are you supposed to stop that if kids aren't going to be doing PE in school?
Absolutely.
So I think I came across the sports science just reading the DCU prospectus, and just as soon as I read it, I was like, this is good for me, because I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in sport, but I didn't know I wanted to work in it. So that was kind of how I decided. That was the only course that I wanted to do. It was top of my CAO, and there was no other option really after that. I had a few there, but I was just hoping to get the points to get into it. But yeah, so that's sort of how I decided. Just came across it and just looked good to me. So yeah.
So you're sorry, I mean.
Yeah, and just with my view on it, really, I suppose I was kind of lucky enough to be offered an internship last year in Australia, where I worked in a school within that setting, and just the difference, like, it is called physical education for a reason. It's meant to be an education within the area of, physical activity, but in Ireland it's just not, as Carla mentioned, it's completely down to the person. Like, they don't have to partake in any type of exercise or any activity, and especially there's a real lack of activities being offered in our schools. I know personally, from me, we were given a football, 2 boys pick teams, and away you go. The PE teacher left for a cup of tea or something. But in Australia, compulsory, kids have to attend 2 PE sessions a week, and it's actually a subject that they get graded on, which I think is a fantastic idea. And the idea that, you might say some people naturally excel while others don't. Fair point, but over there they do it on your level of improvement. They take a baseline, and it's not who's the best or who the worst is, it's how they improved, which I think is a fantastic way of doing it.
It's leaps and bounds above. Now you guys will see from the likes of the module you are doing and the course in DCU, UCD. Also, we're going to talk to John Bourne from ITB on their course, that there is starting to be a bit of a culture change. We're finally getting schools to buy into it. As we were talking to Reynard last week on the cricket, we're finally getting medicine to buy into exercise. We're finally getting NGBs to get into best practice, which was often missing for a long time and still is to an extent. But we can start to see a culture change there now at the moment, and hopefully it'll start progressing to kick on even more, similar to the sort of module you've seen over in Australia.
Yeah, well, here's hoping, because I suppose, as we said, it's just, the awareness around it is thriving, and there's more general public awareness around the importance of being active and nutrition and stuff like that, and it's great to see, because a culture change is really needed, because otherwise it's just, we need something to really shock our system and get with other countries.
Exactly. Like, we see the statistics out now in terms of obesity and everything else, and it plays such a role in social living as well. But and again, in that, people are taking it on themselves by getting into, you can see outdoor recreational sports has grown dramatically, and it's a big niche at the moment. But hopefully the growth keep continuing.
That's it. And it's up to the NGBs, I suppose, really, as you guys know, as the National Sports Campus, to kind of take that route away from, performance-driven sport, and to try bring it into more grassroots and more overall participation, because only that way will we find out who truly is good, because just because they're not good at 12 doesn't mean they're not going to excel when they're 17, 18.
Exactly.
The great thing with raising participation is that it drives up elite performance as well, because the more people play in the sport, the more likely that you're going to find, the top end players. But the thing for me is, people always talk about sport at grassroots level, and they link it to health and obesity and things like that, which is true and which is great. But at the same time, if you're physically active and you're sporty, that has a direct link as well to A, academic performance, and B, productivity in the workplace as well. The research is out there, that's fact. So it'd be great if, the people at the top running the country kind of link all them things together and really kind of push things forward.
There's definitely no mystery. I think, the 4 people around this table, 5 we'll say with Conor, we can all see the patterns and the real benefits to it, and again, it's just about driving people to really buy in, and the great college course that are going on now will only drive that on.
Excellent. Cheers, guys. So thanks for popping in. I think you're going to hang around for a few more minutes as well after we speak to John from ITB.
Cheers, thanks a million.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Okay, Chris, so that was really interesting to hear from Carla and Adam.
Yeah, great to hear from the guys. Really good insight into the sports science in DCU.
And how you can forge a career and a pathway in the sports industry. So now joining on the line, we've got John Byrne, who is from Blanchardstown IT. and he's going to give us a bit of a perspective on how local people as well can sign up to a sports course here in D15.
Hi John, welcome to the show.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good, thanks for joining us. So we have myself, Gary, and Adam and Carla in the studio with us. Adam and Carla have done a sports science degree in DCU. So what we're looking for yourself is just to give us a bit of a background on your role in ITB.
Sure. My role presently in ITB is I'm a lecturer on this sports management and coaching course here at the Institute of Technology in Blanchardstown.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 4-year honours degree course. And basically it's more aimed at the students who would be interested in not only sport but in a management stroke, entrepreneurship, people who are thinking of maybe setting up their own business within the sports and fitness industry.
Right, okay, so sort of more of a business end to it as well.
Yeah, the course is split 50-50 really between the sport modules and then there's some business modules, law, stuff like that, which they also have to partake in.
So it sounds like they get quite a well kind of rounded, broad idea of the sports industry.
Absolutely, and it's important to emphasise that it's not strictly a sports course, although there are sporting elements to it. But it's there's some coaching involved in as well. But as well as that, it's for people who want to go on and become, who have aspirations to work for themselves within the industry, that they understand what it involves or what it entails.
Well, I've been to a couple of seminars and talks myself actually, from business people and from sports people, and the links between being a successful sports person and a successful business person are very, very close. It's the same kind of key attributes.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, for people particularly people who want to go into business, sports has a lot to do with teamwork. And particularly people who want to, set up businesses, inevitably you're going to end up as part of a team, or you will end up as part of a team as you progress or carry on. So, teamwork plays a huge part in all that we do here at the Institute of Technology in Blanchardstown.
That's good stuff. So we know the attributes. What would be the employment potential at the end of such a degree?
The employment potential varies really. We have graduates. We're on our. We've had two sets of graduates who have graduated recently in 2012 and 2013. So they would be, they are the first students to graduate from the college on the sports management course, and they have, they've took up further education in the UK and places like that as well. Employment-wise, we've had people who are, working as regional development officers around the country for the GAA and the FAI and places like that. Right,
that's quite credible, and I suppose it's quite young in its early stage at the moment to fully elaborate, I suppose, on what could be the employment potential with the degree just starting up. It would have been maybe 5 years ago, so?
Yes, the degree is only really, it's in its infancy compared to some, other places like UL, Limerick and places like that. But what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to get is we're trying to do something a little bit different. So we're trying to offer our students something which is just a little bit different in the sense that, we look at from a coaching point of view or a managing point of view, we do, a lot of academic stuff like anatomy and physiology. We also do sports-specific stuff, sports analysis, Olympic lifts, that type of thing. The students get a reps accreditation at the end of the course, which is a huge benefit, particularly for those who wish to go on and work within the health and fitness industry.
That's interesting, because we had Adam here who was on the DCU degree also, who was involved in the lifts also. So it's we were talking about it being such an influential part of sport right now at the moment, and that's involved in the degree. So
sure, and there's a huge uptake at the moment, particularly in sports from all the clubs from even within the Dublin 15 area, but even if you take sport in general, there's a huge emphasis now placed upon fitness, particularly strength and conditioning.
Excellent. So it sounds like they're getting plenty of tangible qualifications as well as the degree. Is there much work experience involved in the course? Do they go on placements and things like that to get a taste of the sports industry?
They do. We do some work, particularly from a coaching point of view. We do some work within the local community. So we visit schools, St Patrick's National School in Carduff, School Breed in Blanchardstown, where we go and do our practical element to our coaching. They also do a lot of work with older adults, special populations, that type of thing. So there's an awful lot of practical experience gained by the students over the course of the 4 years.
That's interesting, and like one of the points that we're going to bring up on in further shows is the likes of older adults and special populations, because it's a hugely important element. And I was going to ask you, have any success stories, but I suppose that would be one of them.
Absolutely, and I mean, without being glib, how do you quantify success? But our success has been we've had older adults, special populations, that type of student coming to our students and working with our students, very, very successfully over the last 4 or 5 years.
That's fantastic, and such a great campus up there as well, John. So I was to ask you, what's the sort of criteria you'd be looking to get into this degree, or can undergraduate maybe qualify, or?
Yes, absolutely. The CAO is the first point of call for everybody for entry into the first year. Second year is then anybody with a reasonable, decent standard of FETAC qualifications can come in as a second year. We also have, thankfully, we have quite a few. I'm going to call them mature students, for want of a better word, involved in the course as well, which is a great, is a great help to everybody.
That's great. That's brilliant. Well, listen, John, thanks for having you on the show. And I'm sure we'll see you around the campus. I know you bring some of the students around the campus for tours occasionally as well. So
absolutely.
Hopefully we might see you up there in the next few months again. Listen, thanks for joining us again, John.
Thanks a million, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, John.
Cheers.
Thanks.
See you. Bye-bye.
So again, really insightful, Chris, to hear from John, and the opportunities that are here at Blanchardstown on everyone's doorstep.
Yeah, it's great to have him on the show, John. He's a good guy. He's been around the campus with us a few times. I've brought our students around for a bit of a tour, and look forward to seeing him again.
Super. Right, guys, it's time for our weekly feature, the Big Ten. A couple of weeks ago, I caught up with 3 athletes that were all from the States performing at the Morton Games. What's your name and where you from?
Lauren Penny, and I'm from New Jersey in the United States.
And what's your event?
Usually the 5K or the 3K.
Right, okay. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, my name is Aisha Pratt. I train in Eugene, Oregon.
Superb.
And I'm Emily Lapari, and I just came out of school from Villanova University.
Superb. And so, is this your first time, guys, in Ireland competing?
This is my 3rd time at the Morton Mile.
Wow, okay,
Yes.
3rd time. So you're a
Third time.
veteran.
Yeah, veteran, I guess. A PR in the mile every summer at this meet.
Superb.
Yeah.
So you've been here 3 times. What do you think of the stadium? What do you think of the city?
It's magical. The stadium is amazing. The fans know what they're talking about. It's a great atmosphere.
Superb. Yourselves, is this your first time here at Morton Stadium?
Yeah, this is my first time here. It's my first time actually ever leaving the United States, and this has been quite an experience. And I hope to get to do it again in the future. But I'm definitely learning a lot as I'm here.
Fantastic. And a question for yourself: What do you think of the track? Is it a quick track?
It's got to be a 4-second PR. So yes,
Superb.
it was very fast. It was a great experience.
So you've all kind of enjoyed your experience in Ireland, enjoyed competing here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Hands down.
are we going to see you again next year?
Hopefully.
I wouldn't miss it.
Fantastic, guys. And where's off next? Any runs coming up? Any races on the cards?
Yeah, I have a steeplechase in Houston next Saturday.
All right, okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm running a 5K in Luzerne. And I'm running an 800 in Letterkenny on Sunday.
Letterkenny, super.
Yeah.
Okay, girls, thanks so much for your time and good luck.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you.
Well, it's great to hear from the girls there.
Yeah, it was a fun night. I got interviewed quite a few athletes, so yeah, it was.
That was good. I mean, remember the new mile record that was broke for Morton at the time. A lot of people don't know, but it was a new 200-metre record broken as well. Also,
was secrets, I know it is.
yeah, that was Gary chasing the 3 female athletes for the interview.
Not at all. Excellent. So speaking of that, quite on topic, Chris, next week we're going to have a focus on women in sport. Obviously this week sport and education, next week women in sport. So it should be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be good, and particularly with the ladies Irish team there. Last week they done quite well as well.
Yeah, the under-19s and the rugby girls are off to the World Cup. I believe that starts shortly. Is it in Paris? Is that right?
That's correct. And we had Carla on the show there earlier on, our A resident golfer.
A wrestling golf, yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, that's the end of our fourth show. So far, 4 shows in, obviously, we're only amateurs. How do you think it's gone so far?
I think we're doing all right in terms of content anyway. Let's say we've had cricket, athletics, swimming, focus on education, sport, women in sport next week. So, quality to each show, I think.
Excellent. So, guys, if anyone out there wants to text in with ideas for a bit of feedback, we know we'd love to hear them. You can text in on 085 10 50 181. You can also leave comments on our Facebook page, National Sports Campus.
Yeah, so that's it till next week. Again, as we said, we'll have women in sport will be our focus coming up next week. And until then, take care.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Big Dave can put this away. Ireland are through to the quarter-finals of the World Cup. He steps up, it's in the back of the net. Oh, yeah! Rome, here we come.
And it's Ireland's day. 61 years of waiting. How sweet this moment is.
Easy, onto it comes Hout. And Hout with a shot, and it's there!